Welcome to SorWil Solutions, where we bring together conversations with leaders, neighbors, and changemakers shaping the future of our community. Before we begin, I want to make something clear. The podcast is nonpartisan. We don't endorse candidates. Our goal is to provide a platform for everyone to share their message, so you as a listener can make your own determination about who you want to support. But before we begin today, I want to get into before we get into our interview, I want to share a reflection that I read in a letter to the editor in the recent Leavenworth Times. Pat Davidson wrote in the Leavenworth Times recently a letter to the editor. Let's just agree to disagree seems to be a closing statement that usually after excessive exposure to facts or reality and signals that they are pulling their heads back into their belief shells. That struck me because the real fallacy isn't in saying agree to disagree. The fallacy is in believing that in every disagreement, one side must be right and the other must be wrong. That kind of thinking leaves no room for growth. The truth is, none of us holds the whole picture. You can be right from your perspective, and I can be right from mine. And still, neither of us has the complete truth. When we listen, we start to see how our pieces fit together. So instead of treating disagreement as a contest to win, we should treat it as an opportunity to learn. The value isn't in proving the other side wrong. The value is in listening long enough to see more than your own view. Today, our special guest is Rebecca Mahan. Is that how you say your last name? Mahan? Okay. You're currently running for City Council. Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you. You were originally April Comer had agreed to be here, and she backed out, and she suggested that I find a young up-and-comer running for office, and she introduced me to you. So I was excited to hear what you have to say, to learn a little bit about you. And you recently kind of made some news with a letter to the editor of your own. So why don't we dive in? Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are? What made you want to run for politics?
So I actually went to elementary school in Leavenworth. My dad was in the military. So what brings me to Leavenworth and the Lansing area is I have about like 30 to 50 relatives in Leavenworth County. And I originally, as a young woman, I was not planning on being in Leavenworth County. I saved up a whole bunch of money while I was working my way through college. My plan was to travel.
Okay.
But I believe God had other intentions for me. I made a promise to my grandpa to take care of my grandma if anything was to happen to him. And he had passed away. My grandma had dementia. So I took care of her after I graduated college. Well, kind of during my last year of college. And so that is why I'm in Lansing.
And where did you attend college?
I went to Missouri S&T, and then I went to UMKC to finish out my degree.
Okay. What's your professional background?
So I am a system analyst. I just got a promotion actually. So last week, congratulations myself. Yes.
Congratulations.
I love programming. I love SorWil. I know that's probably not a common thing. I have
not had one person on the podcast that ever said they love programming. So you are the first.
I love it so much. Like I originally, I did internships in high school for more like construction management development. I do love house projects and building and stuff, but my passion was more, I competed nationally actually in high school on AutoCAD, which is a program a lot of developers use. But when I went to college, I decided after taking a whole bunch of programming classes, I was like, I think my passion is mostly in the software used on computers versus construction management. And I fit well, and I chose that platform if I was going to spend a lot of money at school, I wanted a degree that paid me well afterwards.
I think you picked it. Now, you'd said before when we were talking that your father is also in.
Yeah, he's a software architect, and he actually travels all over the global now. Travels South America. He'll be traveling to Vietnam and all over the place. Originally, I was not, since my dad was into computers, I was like, oh, that's boring. I don't want to do this, but I just kind of like followed in his shoes. I'm very proud.
Nobody says when they're a child that they want to grow up to be a programmer or an IT professional. And yet we do what we do. What made you decide to get into politics?
Honestly, I don't really see it as me necessarily getting into politics. I see it as a young person and a woman wanting change in her community. I think we all have one life to live. And if we want to see change, we need to get involved and volunteer for our community.
That's great. What do you see as some of the most important issues facing the city of Lansing?
Currently, from door knocking,
Mhm.
everyone says taxes, high taxes.
I can agree with that.
After paying taxes myself, is absolutely an issue. I have it's not even a 1,300 square foot home off
Mhm.
McIntyre. My taxes are closer to like 5,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We recently moved to New Jersey for a few years. I sold my first company doing IT work, and we decided I was going to take a corp job with these things called vacation days. Because when you own your own company, you don't get many of those. And so we lived in New Jersey for about 5 years. Our taxes were closer to $12,000 a year. So I am concerned that Leavenworth is on trajectory for high property tax like that. What do you think you can do as a council member to help prevent that?
Well, I think we just need to, focus on responsible growth.
Mhm.
And like at the end goal, like you don't want to see your neighbors get taxed out of their homes. Like, I have a lot more years of working. I don't
Mhm.
want to retire and have to be taxed out of my house. So
Sure.
when I look for my future, that's what I'm looking at is like, how can we make taxes more manageable instead of just like pricing me out of my house when I'm retired and I got to sell it. So I think that's a huge focus. I believe in like limited government and responsible growth.
You've identified, I mean, it's a nonpartisan race, but you've identified as a conservative in this race.
I think being transparent with your community is super important. And I think our community needs more transparency.
Did you grow up with your parents were conservative also?
Yes.
Interesting. Um, One of the things about cities, and as everyone knows, I'm running for Leavenworth City Commission as well. Most of their budget comes from sales tax, not necessarily property tax. Only a small percentage comes from property tax. What can we do as the city of Lansing to draw more businesses in?
I think we need to, like, again, property tax is something that's going to affect small businesses a lot,
Mhm.
um, commercial property tax. And so we have a lot of smaller businesses in our area. I think we need to work with how we market ourselves. So
Mhm.
when I attended the economic development meeting, I heard a lot of people say that, their daughters were moving out of this area. They're moving to Johnson County. And I was like, I was listening. People were like, we need to review the hand we're dealing to our community. And so I think that if we looked at the hand that we have, what our community is known best for, we're pretty safe, we're next to a military base. Um, if we learned how to market ourselves to bring in companies and businesses that were more attractive to the people that live in this area. And I'm thinking that maybe we market ourselves to businesses based on what women would like. I'm hearing that people are upset their daughters are leaving this
Mhm.
area. I think it would be important to people to sit down and ask their daughters or their wives, like, hey, like, what would you be interested in seeing in this area? And we could focus on that.
One of the things that recently has come to light, City of Lansing's built 7 houses in the last 7 years. Baser's built 700. So getting people to move to Lansing and to build in Lansing has been difficult. And so the city council recently worked with the developer in an RHID project, the residential housing incentive, where the developer would get a little bit of an abatement over 20 years, I believe, in order to build homes in Lansing. Lansing passed it, the school board passed it, but the county did not pass it. What can we do to attract developers to come into Lansing to build more homes? Because I think the issue with women leaving to go out isn't necessarily that they are looking for other jobs or businesses, but necessarily maybe that they're looking for affordable housing. Because right now, an affordable house is considered 300,000. And my daughter um, is our marketing director here, and she makes X amount of dollars a year. She certainly can't afford a $300,000 home. So how can we make homes more affordable? How can we get people to build affordable housing in Lansing if we can't get the county to support us?
So It's kind of hard for me to look at tax abatements, like especially the huge, like Riverbend Heights was a huge one.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Necessarily, that land would take a lot of money to develop to make affordable
Sure.
housing. And when you're looking at making affordable housing for your community, like there's a lot other like different land options out there. Um, that land wasn't originally annexed into Lansing, but it was like an agreement with the property owner. And what I think when we're making affordable housing, we also need to be careful with huge tax payments. So, I don't think we should. Maybe the first option that's presented in front of us might be a terrible deal for us in the long term. Like maybe not short term, we all want affordable housing. We all want more houses. We want responsible growth. So we just need to take time and view our options. I understand that was probably the only option presented to the city of Lansing, but also that was the one with the biggest tax abatement. So I say there's a lot of pros and cons to when we're approached with a project. And the county commissioners, they're also scared of tax abatements, as we have heard from them if you've watched their meetings. So,
Sure.
I believe we're 25 minutes from the airport from my house. I think other places like Baser are going to run out of room. I live very close to Baser. 4 minutes from the church over there, 9 minutes from the CrossFit gym. I do think development is going to push this way. I might not necessarily be at the pace that everybody else is wanting. They maybe want growth right now. They want to see results right now. But I don't think that it's going to be 20 years down the road that we're going to see growth. I think there are ways we can streamline growth through looking at the cost of getting permits, maybe help that way. And again, at the end of the day, it's all how you market your area. We could capitalize on this by marketing our city correctly.
Who do you whose responsibility is it to market the city of Lansing?
I think it's the communities.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Explain.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we could ask the city to market, but again, that's just going to cost us money from taxpayers. So I think if we as a community work together, we as a community are going to have to work together to keep our taxes low. I don't think it's too much to ask the community for ideas on how to market our city. It's going to take a team effort. It's not just the city council's job. It's not just the city employees' job. It's us as a community.
Okay. I like it. That makes a lot of sense. Right now, there's a lot of turmoil in the Republican Party itself. And being an identified conservative, and we have, in my opinion, in Leavenworth County, we have the far right, we have the middle, we have the left, and the far left. And where do you see yourself on that scale?
See, I don't like to put necessarily like a label
No, that's fine.
on myself, but I think it could be toxic to the environment of the GOP to label someone that claims to be a conservative is not conservative enough. I don't think that's how you grow as a party.
Sure.
I think it's toxic to them. And I hope that with me, hopefully, and other new conservatives or younger conservatives, that we can help, lead them into a better direction.
You say labeling not conservative enough. Do you feel like you've been labeled not conservative enough?
Absolutely.
Kind of explain that.
Well, I grew up in a conservative family, and I think it's just people just look at me and they are like, "Oh, she's not conservative enough." And I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" I don't think that mindset of when you go to volunteer for something is necessarily a good mindset to have, is just to look at someone and judge them just for their appearance or how nice they are.
Sure.
I think it's a terrible mindset to have, especially when you want to grow your party.
As a young person getting involved in politics, and you're probably, if you were elected, would probably be the youngest person on the council. How do you feel your leadership style would mesh with the rest of the council?
I think, I'm learning a lot of what not to do.
Okay. That's the first thing you learn when you're running for politics.
I think I'm a lot more I'm approachable,
Sure.
um, which is nice, and I would help diversify the city council. I'm a
Okay.
young woman, Gen Z. I think it can be intimidating to walk into a room, and I don't know, I feel like a lot of people, especially when I door knock, are more comfortable with talking to me, comfortable with asking me questions. And so I feel like that's also important when people want to reach out and be like, hey, what's going on with our city? Or like, hey, I'm upset about such and such. Like, I'm really glad that people are comfortable with approaching me. So that's a change for once. I wouldn't be necessarily comfortable with approaching, so I'm not saying our city council, most of them are really great. I've met them. They're very sweet, but I'm just saying, like, as a young person, being approachable and being able to have that appeal is very important, especially with us trying to grow, trying to bring in younger generations into our community. I think it's just, yeah, I'm just thinking about that.
How well do you know your opponent?
I think Stundika's a really good opponent. He is a very smart man. I have nothing ill or negative to say about him. I think he has a lot of experience.
Do you think it's just time for change?
I think if we are really wanting to grow as a community, that we are going to have change.
Mhm.
You're going to have younger voices. You're going to have people up there that are starting families and are at different chapters in their life, giving out ideas and sharing
Mhm.
sharing their experiences and asking the right questions.
Not endorsing either of you. I think you both are great people. It's interesting, I think, because there's not a lot of young people in politics, but there's not a lot of young women in politics. So I see that you talk about diversity, which seems to be a bad word these days, especially with the GOP. But I think that it forces us to look at and embrace different things because now we're seeing the world from another point of view. As a self-proclaimed moderate, and I would say that I am a conservative for the most part. I don't associate with the GOP here. I think you and I kind of talked about that simply because I believe they're far more conservative than I am. And I believe compromise comes from being in the middle where moderation is. I can't convince I can't convince person A to do what I want, and I can't convince person B to do what I want. But there's some ground in the middle where the three of us can work together. So I think that's where moderation comes in because I think that's the only way we can grow as a community. I can't always have my way. And if I do, if I have the whole council all with the same thoughts as I have, how do we grow intelligently, right? I mean, because now it's just an echo chamber of the same things, and we're not really representing all the people. Do you feel like if you were elected, you could represent the people that agree with you as well as the ones that do not agree with you?
Absolutely, that's what you are as a council member. You're supposed to represent all the people in your ward, not just the people that agree with you or disagree. You're here to represent everyone. Doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. You're here to make the community better.
That's a great point. Let's shift a little bit and talk about your letter to the editor, the infamous letter to the editor. I heard about this even before I met you, obviously. You said a lot of things in that letter that I've heard from other people. I don't remember what issue it was in. Do you recall? In case anybody wants to go back and look it up.
It's like
this
a
last
week
month?
or two ago.
Okay. So within the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, you wrote a letter and you were somewhat upset with leadership in the Republican Party. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
When you go to volunteer for things, like, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I mean this out of like my love and my heart here.
Sure.
That I believe that we as a community need to hold leadership accountable. Like in my opinion, just from the experience I had, I was like, I can't be the first one this has happened to.
Mm-hmm.
But I promise you, I'm not going to be silent about it. I don't think we should tolerate that kind of behavior. And so it was important for me to be able I was like, I hope that other people are telling Pat Proctor that how he debated was embarrassing.
Mhm.
How he treated people was embarrassing. And that's coming out of a place of love. Like, everyone has a family to go home to. I have a family to go home to at night. I
Sure.
understand, people have a difference of opinion, but again, like, I believe that, like you said, like, you have to be able to talk to others. You can't just go out walls to walls attacking people.
Mhm.
And so to me, that like rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, this is not how I would expect leadership to conduct themselves.
As I read your article, it seems like you guys started out together, but at some point diverged. And what was that? What caused that divergence?
I wouldn't say that we were necessarily ever together. I'd say that he held a candidate forum. And again, like that forum was the first time I met him. And I'm not going to
Okay.
read stuff on social
Sure.
media and judge someone
Mhm.
from social media. I'm going to give him a chance. So that was the first time I met him. And he seemed like a chill guy. He was trying to help all the candidates in the area. And I have been very passionate about talking against the RHIDs. I've talked to the county, I've talked to the city, I've gone to the school board, I've economic development meeting. I'm trying to hear, different people's arguments on is this good, is this bad? And he knows that he supports it, and I think he knows that. But again, I had never had any like harsh words. The only thing like during this debate, I'd asked like, had there ever been a legislative audit done on RHIDs? Well, after that debate, like he had gone into this little walk list app and just deleted me off.
Wow.
And I was just like, that's kind of sad. But I mean, it's whatever. It's just a bad reflection of his character, I think. So, I mean, that's on him.
I've had no immediate dealings with him. I have reached out to him on a few occasions and tried to get his side of the story. So I understand, he's got a good following. There are a number of people who are super supportive of him, obviously, because he's been elected a number of times to that seat. So he's just doing some good things. We have ended up at a lot of the same events. The Alliance Against the Domestic Violence. So he's doing some things in the community that are good.
Yeah.
But there has been that tone that some people really are not happy with him. So it's just kind of interesting to see, how that works out for him, especially in his run for Secretary of State. Once again, nonpartisan here. Good luck for him, and anybody else who runs. I'll have to see who's all running as I decide who I'm going to vote for. Do you feel like speaking out though has hurt you in any way?
I think they want new leaders that are going to speak out, that aren't going to tolerate bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to hurt me. I don't think it has hurt me. And if it has, like, I don't necessarily care. Like,
That's
I'm here
nice.
to volunteer for our community. And so if speaking my truth or being transparent with people upsets people, then, like, they can have their beliefs. But at the end of the day, I feel okay.
Do you feel like it's more difficult for you to speak out as a woman?
No, I have a lot of siblings, mostly brothers. So I am not afraid to speak out as a woman.
That's great. I think that, and it doesn't matter where you fall on the spectrum, I think that there's a certain amount of concern that people show when women speak out. And I think they should be more vocal. They should be vocal, just as vocal as everybody else. And so to see you speaking out, I think is admirable. And standing up for your truth. And I like the way you said that. In fact, so I think that's very admirable. And to not let it go by the wayside. Um, let's see. In your view, what else from a global standpoint? What's going on with the Republican Party? Where do you see yourself as far as our national Republican Party?
So I mostly don't really stress with the global stance. I think it's important for us as a community to focus on the county, the school, and the city. Like you, me, we're small people in this big world. We can't, we can't make these huge changes, but what we can do is help benefit our community, like helping out the Leavenworth Humane Society. Focus on things in our community that matter to us and better our community. So I'm not as focused on the party as a
whole.
As a whole.
Do you see yourself going beyond the city council in the future?
Absolutely not.
Oh, really?
I don't like. I want to run for city council for my chance to volunteer and give back to my community. But at the same time, like, I'm about to get married this next year. I want to start a family. Like, I want to volunteer in other places. So I'm just like, I believe you should, try your hardest, give everything a shot. It's okay to fail. But at the same time, like, my life passion is not politics. It's just helping my community.
Interesting. Do you think that the current GOP is supportive of newcomers like yourself?
I think most of the GOP is. And I'm going to say that with, some grace here that, there's some people that are going to have some stigmas and they don't want to see a new generation switch out seats or take a part in leadership. And I have seen a little bit of an issue with that. But I mean, most of the people have like genuinely like really warm hearts and are super welcoming. So the amount of people that are super welcoming and have genuine hearts are like the majority. And then there's just going to be a few individuals who I would say don't have like the best relationship with the seeing how this needs to grow and be better for our entire community.
Besides property taxes, what are some of the other issues you hear when you're knocking?
I'm going to be honest, it's mostly property taxes. Like 100%. I don't know if you've door knocked for Leavenworth yet.
I've door knocked for the county position. I've door knocked for the city position. Yeah.
But mostly everyone, it's property taxes.
When you door knock, if you see your opponent's sign in somebody's yard, do you still knock on their door?
I haven't seen my opponent's sign, and I don't, I got my walk list taken away, so I'm going to knock on everyone's door.
Which is what I did. Even if somebody had an opponent sign in the door, I still went and knocked on the door to talk to the people because I feel like they deserve to hear another voice, even if it's already made up for them. And what I find is sometimes people are told who to vote for and don't necessarily know who they are voting for.
I think it's very important for people to investigate and get to know their candidates. So that's why I'm on your podcast, is maybe I'll reach some more people and they are, maybe on the fence. They're trying to figure out what kind of person I am. So
that's great. That's great. Do you think that it's responsible for people just to vote down party line?
No, absolutely not. GOP might be upset with me saying that. But also, I think like when you're picking out leadership, doesn't matter what party. Well, okay, maybe you want people that align with your morals a little, like you're concerned about that. But at the end of the day, like when you're picking out leadership, like I want someone strong with strong leadership skills, with strong morals and ethics, and I'm going to investigate them. I'm going to see what they voted for in the past. Like, is, what they're about. Like, I'm going to look into them on social media, of course, and see. And I try not to base everything off social media. As I told you, like, I'm not going to go in with a prejudgment of like, maybe they've cut a couple of videos and made this person look bad, because that does happen.
It does.
So that's, I go in with a try to nonpartisan. I'm like over here with a mindset there. I'm like, this is how I'm going to go in when I approach someone, get to know the real them. And then they show me their character is not good. Like, I can't necessarily be supportive of that. It doesn't mean that they don't do good things. But like for me, if I'm picking someone to lead our community or lead our state or lead our county, like I'm concerned about that.
Sure. I had a friend tell me, a conservative, that the Republican Party is the party of dumb, but the Democratic Party is the party of evil. And that weighs on me because I have a number of friends on both sides of the line. Being a moderate, you're able to run with a lot of different people and get a lot of different views. I don't know that I've ever looked at one of my friends who was a Democrat and thought, that's an evil person right there. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, I went to college. I have a lot of sorority sisters. I'd say I'm one of the few conservatives, and these people are still my friends, and I love them dearly, and I'm in their weddings. So, like, and I've met a lot of people that are not Republicans that are extremely intelligent. They may have, different ideas on how they want government to work that I might not necessarily agree with, but also I want to listen. I want to hear their perspective because I really love hearing intelligent people explain their mindset and what they believe and why they think certain things will work. It's just fascinating to me.
Okay. We are going to shift now to our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Before we do, I am wearing a shirt for the homeless shelter. I try to wear a nonprofit shirt. I don't always remember. But this time I'd like to just shout out our homeless shelter in town, Community of Hope. They do a lot of great work with homeless and trying to get them off the streets and providing them with an opportunity to be warm or cool, depending on the time of year. And so if you are looking for a nonprofit to support, I would definitely recommend the Community of Hope. All right. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
No, 1 second.
All right.
All right.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. What flavor? Black?
Doesn't matter. I could do it black.
Wow. Okay. Chiefs, Royals, or which university team do you cheer for?
Oh, the Chiefs. I mean,
And last week.
I'm going to be honest, the family I'm marrying into doesn't support the Chiefs. They're Cowboys fans.
Ooh. Wow. You heard it right here. That may hurt your chances of getting elected right there. Favorite restaurant in Leavenworth or Lansing?
Ooh. Low and Slow over there. They're chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've had it, but I have. And it's just amazing.
Okay. If you could add one new type of business to Lansing, what would it be? What does Lansing really need? And you cannot say Chipotle on the corner.
I will not. This is gonna be hard. We have so much more stuff than I have been blessed with in my life. So
Is it a department store? Is it a restaurant? What would it be?
ooh. I like some boutiques. I would like to see some more boutiques.
Okay. Last show you binge watched?
I have right now we're binge watching Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. My wife has watched that multiple times. I get a under his eye often. I don't even know what that means. She has asked me to watch it. Favorite meal you cook at home?
I live off of steak and rice or deer and rice.
Deer and rice.
Absolutely. I'm a deer hunter.
You're a hunter?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
I will be processing my own meat this year.
Wow. I'm impressed. Favorite food on the go?
On the go? Probably a sandwich.
From?
Jimmy John's.
Ooh, Jimmy John's. Okay. If you had a day off with no obligations, how would you spend it?
Reading.
Okay. What is the last thing you read?
Just reading the Bible.
Okay. That's a good answer. What's one hidden gem in Lansing that people should know about?
There's too many.
If somebody was coming here and they say they want to go to one place, what would you recommend?
Harsh. You know what? The public library.
Okay. Terry, who was on here, is very appreciative of that comment. If you had to describe Lansing in one word, what would it be?
Promising.
Okay. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's hard.
It's supposed to be. It's my favorite question to ask people. I should start a spreadsheet with all these
Ooh,
answers.
Perfect. My grandpa, he said, nothing in this world is free.
Very good. If people want to learn more about your campaign or they want to donate to your campaign, can you just kind of look at the audience and just tell them where they can go for that?
Mahan for Lansing is the little brand here for donating, but I have a little Facebook page that says Rebecca Mahan for Lansing for Ward 2. So I have a little couple photos on there. Me stopping by some local shops. It's a little tidbits on there.
And if they want to get a sign in their yard or anything?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on Facebook or
Okay.
if they want to, or I could door knock and say hi.
Do you keep some in your car so when you're door knocking, if somebody says, hey, give me a sign, you're good?
Yes, I
All right.
do.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience before we wrap up today?
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We were excited to have you and excited to see a new voice in the area and especially a young person running for politics. I find that to be very exciting. Well, this wraps up today's conversation. What stands out to me is that disagreement doesn't have to divide us. As we discussed, it's in the back and forth and the listening, the willingness to admit we don't hold the entire truth, but the community does grow stronger. If we want a stronger community, we need to do less talking, more listening, and a lot less judgment. That's our podcast for today. Check us out next week.